Good afternoon. My name is Charmaine Taylor, CMP. I'm president of Onsite Partners, Inc., a meeting consulting firm based in Houston, Texas. But most importantly, I'm a proud alum of the class of 1986 of the Conrad N. Hilton College of Hotel and Restaurant Management. I also currently serve as secretary of Eric's Club, our distinguished alumni group, as well as a member of the Dean's Advisory Board. And I also serve on the executive committee of Visit Houston, which is our Greater Houston Convention and Visitors Bureau membership organization. I am so honored and privileged today to bring you our very first Hilton College Alumni Association Ask the Dean segment, which we hope to do going forward, and getting the state of the Hilton College. This is something we would like to continue to do moving forward in the spring of each year, to give our alumni a chance to hear from you about all the exciting things happening at the college. First, some exciting news. Dean, I hear we have a new development director. Can you tell us a little about him?
Hi, Anna and Charmaine. Thanks for being here. Thanks for doing this. Long overdue, and I think this is a great idea. And I appreciate the Alumni Association stepping up. So Chris Miller, who's been with us for an entire month, is indeed our new Senior Director of Development. He was in the hotel business for decades. He was with, most recently, he was the GM at the Wyndham Houston West Energy Corridor. He spent many, many years with Wyndham, Starwood, Destination Resorts, and he's currently on the Greater Houston Convention and Visitors Bureau Board as well. And he serves on the Katy ISD Hospitality Program Advisory Council. So he's a busy guy, well connected. And I should give a shout out to Steve Cunningham, our GM, who actually connected us. So if it wasn't for Steve, Chris wouldn't be with us, and he's just a great addition to the team.
Awesome. And I'm excited just to have Chris on board. And I haven't had a chance to work with him at the GHCVB. So I'm really excited to be working with him at the Hilton College because I'm coming on at this point. So that is so awesome. Now, we've got lots of exciting things happening at the college. Can you give us an update on the progress of the new construction and the expansion that was approved prior to the pandemic?
Absolutely. It's kind of a very exciting thing. So first, we're going to post in the chat the link so you can actually see the construction in real time. That video will be playing constantly. There's even a button where you can watch it kind of for the whole span of the construction. If you haven't been to campus, you will notice, if you have been, you have noticed the very pretty blue, it's a Hilton blue, fence that surrounds our entire college. It's kind of a sign of the times. It's got renderings of what the new tower will look like. It's going to be great. And if you hear some noise in the background, that's the crew out front cutting down some of our trees, because hopefully the crane is going to be going up in the next week or two. They're going to do the electrical for the crane next week. And the question everyone asks is, when is it going to be finished? So we're still looking at late 2022, early 2023. We're a little behind in the start, but the finish looks good. But I want everyone to understand that we have to start paying back this revenue bond in February of 2023. So we don't have a big choice. It has to be up and operational and ready to sell rooms. So, but it's really a point of pride for us because it's going to be a big deal.
And a great plan, and it's wonderful that even in the midst of a pandemic that we're being able to proceed with this project. That is really, really exciting news. And I know one big component of this process is going to be the Center for Student Success. How are the plans for the new center coming along so far?
It's going. Thank you so much, Brad, because that's another game changer. The Eric's Club Center for Student Success is going to be amazing. It's really going to set the example for the university and for other universities as well. As you enter the new Eric's Club Center for Student Success, there's a concierge desk that will be staffed by students. And those students will then say, oh, did you want to go to advising? Do you want to go for recruiting? Do you want to go to placement? Or of course, do you want to go to Cougar Grounds, which is the other direction in the same building? So it's going to be great. So when guests come in, parents, students, it's something that we need to have. It's something that we should have always had, but we didn't have the real estate. But thanks to the amazing provost, we have the West Wing back in our possession, and it's just going to be perfect. So it'll be about 60% Center for Student Success and about 40% for Cougar Grounds. So the Cougar Ground footprint will be much bigger than it is today, and it will truly be a coffee shop of the future. And what a great location, which is pretty exciting.
Yeah, we at Eric's Club are very excited about that addition and to be able to have uh, the opportunity to share in that. And of course, there's always great coffee at Cougar Grounds. It appears the university, our students, and have adjusted well to the shift to virtual and hybrid learning environments. What do you think made the transition work?
Well, another great question. There are a lot of things, several factors really that resulted or allowed us to do a really quick pivot. First, the president provost had really the foresight to say, okay, we're going to stop teaching for a week. Everything stops. And it gave us time to really get everybody trained. Because keep in mind, some of our faculty have never taught an online class. And so you're halfway through the semester and now you have to create basically all new material. That's not an easy thing to do, and especially if you've been doing this for a long time. But what was really refreshing is our younger faculty or faculty who had a lot of online experience just jumped in and started coaching those faculty who were a little confuddled. And it was really nice. It was just a great team effort. And I think even those seasoned people learned a few things, which was great. It was a great opportunity to share. And we also took the opportunity when that hit to make sure, one, all faculty and staff had the equipment they needed. Because if your laptop has a camera, that's great, but if it doesn't, does the microphone work? And so we had to make sure everybody was up to speed, and we had to do that in a hurry, just to make sure that they had the tools they needed. And then we looked at what was going to happen next. I mean, I don't think anyone expected this pandemic to go as long as it has, but we knew that it would be a game changer, that education is going to be different. So we took the opportunity to look at our classrooms, and thanks to Gotham Taneja, who is just our amazing IT Superman, we looked at our classrooms and said, okay, what do we need in terms of IT in the classroom? What will make it best for the student? And we picked our three most frequently used classrooms, and they are classrooms of the future. They have the best technology. In fact, it's so good that the University of Houston now, anyone who wants to upgrade their classrooms, they send them to us, and then we just give them the spec sheet of what Gotham did. It was expensive, about $50,000 per classroom. But to see the technology, I mean, the camera, as the professor walks around the front of the room, the camera tracks him or her. It's amazing. And then the microphones throughout the ceiling. So if you're a student in the class and you ask a question, in the past, that was great. But if you were online and you weren't in the classroom, you couldn't hear the question. So we've revamped all that. It's going to make a big difference. And for the students, and when they walk in and you see this amazing podium set up with the two monitors and the microphones, and it's neat.
Wow, so much to unpack from those updates. Teamwork makes the dream work. The ability for multi-generational collaboration and the sharing of information amongst the faculty to be able to support each other, just speaks volumes to why that adjustment took place. And of course, that classroom, which I'm sure is a model for all the university to be able to look at to see how they can better deal in what we know is going forward be a hybrid environment. So thank you for all those wonderful updates on that and how we've adjusted. As we look outside, furloughs were extended and reopenings were staggered globally for our industry. What has been the impact on the undergraduate enrollment, our U.S. graduate degree programs, and of course the global masters, which touches outside of the United States in Hong Kong and Switzerland?
Again, thank you. I'm not going to make stuff up. I mean, our enrollment took a hit. I mean, the pandemic was not user-friendly, and we took a hit more than any other at the University of Houston because we are hospitality, and that's usually a point of pride. But this was a tough time, and I will share that. The university wanted to keep going and do fundraising, and I said, not for our alumni. A lot of our alumni don't have jobs, so and that kind of transitions into getting new students, because as a parent, you're seeing what's happening in the hotel and restaurant business. That's kind of hard. But what we keep telling parents is, but a few years from now, things are going to be better than ever. So let's think about that. So our enrollment at the undergraduate level is coming back, I'm very happy to say. We were worried about that, but we have an amazing recruiting team in place, and they have just been breaking all the rules and really, how can we do things differently? At our residential master's program, our enrollment is through the roof because anytime the economy tanks, people want to go back to grad school. So that's really good. But I think one of the most important things to note with our master's program is we are more diverse in terms of the student population than ever before. More underrepresented minorities. Part of that is our recruiting efforts, but part of it is just timing. And it's where we need to be going. So that's really good. And then our global masters, talk about timing. Each cohort has faced different things. The one cohort, when they did one of the field trips to Paris, that was the night of the shootings. I mean, we've had all kinds of things. The pandemic, the outbreak of violence in Hong Kong, that caused the need for us to think differently. But now it's coming back. The Global Masters, it was so wonderful to see them graduate last week, which is just really cool. But we're actually doubling down for our Global Masters students. So in the original format, you spent your first semester in Lausanne, second semester in Hong Kong, and you finished off with us. Great model. And then basically then we just restart. So each year, the fall semester, we kick off. Well, as I said, we're going to double that. And so we're going to have a new cohort start every fall and a new cohort start every spring, which means then we'll have cohorts graduating in December and May when they finish off their degree with us. So it's an exciting time, and they continue to be some of our best students because of their background. They are global. They're going to change the world, and it's so much fun to hear them talk about their jobs. Yeah, I'm working in Barcelona. I'm working in wherever, Peru. It's just that the world seems so much smaller from their perspective, and they were making us proud. It was fun. We had a little reception for them. Usually we have a big reception around graduation because of things, but it was nice. We recognized them, which is a champagne toast, and it was just great to see.
Yeah, as we're hearing a lot, way to pivot.
Yeah.
And for one man's trash is another man's treasure, in the sense that sometimes there's difficulty for one segment, but then opportunity for another. And with that in mind, U of H, I know, had to look very closely at its finances, being a state institution, as well as having multiple campuses. And we had the campus in San Antonio. What's the status of that program?
Boy, don't want to be that guy that had to make the changes we had to make, but the pandemic really did bring, as you said, some unexpected changes and kind of forced us to look at things and face those challenges right up front. So when we went last March, we converted to everything online, and that's continued through this year in San Antonio. What we kind of came face to face with is we've got a really, really pretty building that's very, very expensive. And to have it sit vacant for almost a year, it didn't make sense. It's simply not sustainable based on the number of students. I mean, our placement in San Antonio with the program is fantastic because there's so many jobs in San Antonio in the area traditionally. But it just didn't make sense to have that program as a 2+2. So what we've done is I made a deal with every single San Antonio student, and we are going to continue to offer those classes. If they need to graduate, we will offer them online so they don't have to move to Houston. And we're going to keep that commitment to them because I think it's fair. We accepted them. They enrolled at a time when we didn't know this was coming. So I want to make sure they get through. They always have the option to take classes in Houston if they want, but as I said, we will offer them the online opportunities and get them graduated. And we haven't got any pushback from them, and the university has been great to work with. We've moved out of the building. We've vacated. We've taken all our goodies and brought them back. Much to the benefit of our college, because we have a lot of new furniture in the college that we could repurpose. And that's been good. It's been hard, and Charmaine, when you and I first met, at that very first board meeting, I said, what's the most important thing right now? And the consensus was, well, San Antonio, we want this to be successful. But times change. And I think, we will always have fantastic graduates out of that program. And we'll continue to have a lot of good transfer students. The difference is the classes will be here. But it was a good experiment. I think we helped San Antonio. Unfortunately, that area where we opened the building didn't quite gentrify the way we expected and that the world thought. Just everything, the pandemic to the economy to everything else. But I'm still very proud of our students. We're going to keep our faculty on board that traditionally taught in San Antonio. So I see this as a positive thing going forward. And who knows what the future will bring. With our new programs that we're exploring, we have a partnership in Athens right now. We have another partnership in South America that we're exploring. So I think our reach is going to continue to grow. well beyond Texas. And I think there's a lot to be learned from what we saw in San Antonio, and it'll just make us stronger and better.
Well, the great news is the students that were already enrolled, you've honored your commitment to them, and they'll get to continue their path despite the changes. So we can be excited about having those join the ranks of our alumni, and as with all of us, down the road, who knows, we may have another opportunity. Also, as we look to the future of our industry and the college, can you touch on the possibility of the changing of the college's name and what that process will be if it does change?
You're just touching all the hot topics, aren't you?
I don't want to miss anything, Dean.
Well,
our
everyone
alumni
knows.
need to be informed.
Absolutely, and I have no secrets. So we're doing a lot of tough soul searching. When we opened in 1969, thanks to Conrad Hilton's $1.5 million gift, we were the University of Houston Conrad and Hilton School of Hotel and Restaurant Management. And then in 1978, we changed the name to the College of Hotel and Restaurant Management. And really that moniker, that hotel and restaurant moniker, served us really well for more than 50 years. I mean, it defined us, it helped shape us, it helped really steer us. But we've matured, we've grown, and the industry's grown. So back when I joined in 2015, I immediately started getting questions from students first, and then especially parents saying, so wait a sec, so my son or daughter is going to be a waiter because your name says hotel and restaurant and management. No, we're creating leaders for the global hospitality industry, but that's much bigger, that's much broader. In a couple board meetings, I know we've talked about this and brainstormed, but I don't think any one person should pick the name. So we took a really strong kind of business approach. So if a business is going to change its name, what do you do? So we hired, and this is in strong thanks to an anonymous donor who said that we shouldn't be paying for that this is something that we should do, but we don't really have the money, especially right now. So the donor made sure we could do this. So we put it out to bid. We hired an amazing market research firm that's really just embraced that. They didn't know us particularly well before they took on this job, but they have just been dazzled with our alumni, with our students, and they're really doing it correctly. So step one was to do a qualitative analysis. So they did one-on-one interviews with dozens of people. We gave them a list of people that were key students, alumni, industry partners, and they were cute because in their proposal they said, cute probably isn't the best word, but they were impressed. So they had 12 to 15 minutes carved out for the interviews. Well, all of us, we like to talk. So those interviews were spanning like an hour long, and so they had to extend it a week. Like, we need a little more time. We didn't know your people would have that much information for us, but they did a great job. So then they carved the qualitative data and created a survey for the quantitative data research, and that's just concluded recently, and I'm dying to hear the results. They wanted to know what I thought the name should be, and I said, nope, this isn't me. I want to know what the market says. What do potential students say? And we've gotten some suggestions along the way, even though that wasn't part. When we sent out the email inviting people for interviews and to complete the survey, I didn't want the answer. It's like, no, just fill out the survey. And that's what we need. But the response has been just fantastic. So we targeted, again, students, alumni, industry partners, and leaders from other hospitality programs around the world. What do you think? Because there's some interesting names out there. What I don't want is to have the name not be representative. So I don't want it to say something about something that we're not. And is it possible we won't change the name? Absolutely. I mean, if that's what the market suggests, then we'll keep it. No matter what, we will always be the Conrad and Hilton College of, and that's the part we don't know. How do you complete the name? But I'm excited about their suggestions. And I will, as a disclaimer, no matter what we pick, whether we stay the same, whether we pick something new, I know we're not going to have 100% consensus. And I know some people are going to be upset. But that's kind of, a problem with change. Not everyone's on board. But we can't think about 50 years ago. We need to think about 50 years from now.
Absolutely.
Strategically, what do we need to do? And really keep our eye on the future. And that's it. So my ultimate goal is when we open the new tower and with the renovation of the existing tower and the Eric's Club Center for Student Success, when everything's ready to launch, I want to have our new name right in front of our building. So that's the goal. And if it's the same name, that's easy because we don't have to change much. But really, what a great way to launch that and to have the world see us. And I think, it'll take all of minutes for people to go, oh yeah, at the university itself will probably be the slowest to change because they call us HRM because we've been for 50 years. And I prefer to call it the Hilton College. And we will still be the Hilton College. Some people have said, well, why don't you just take the Hilton name off it? That's our brand. Brand equity is tough to build, and we've worked hard to build that. So why sacrifice that? It's just the rest of the sentence is going to be interesting to see what we're told.
Yeah, it all sounds exciting, and what I love is that everybody has a voice. You looked at all the stakeholders and gave everyone an opportunity to be able to weigh in, and I also saw it posted on social media as well, so that people would have an opportunity to for their voices to be heard, and that's so important. It is our college, and we appreciate that you as a dean are leading the charge to make sure that we all do have an opportunity to be heard.
Well, thanks.
That's awesome.
It's key that someone said, well, on shows like The Voice, which I don't watch, but apparently when you have to vote for the winner, you vote for who stays and who goes. You can vote multiple times on multiple devices. So a couple of people have said, well, what if someone votes 10 times? And I say, if someone is that passionate about our name of our future, then go for it. That's whatever it takes. The market research firm will obviously sift through that. But we posted everywhere, and we even on social media said, if you know someone who for whatever reason didn't get contacted, pass it along, because maybe people that maybe a spouse of a graduate. I want to know what they say too. So all opinions are good in this case.
Very, very, very good plan. So if you could offer any advice to those who are still in the hunt for opportunities. I know, we are hearing that everything is reopening, that there is a big change in the marketplace in terms of, the types of jobs that are available. I think from a news standpoint, we hear a lot about the entry level non-degree positions and there being shortages, but we are concerned about giving good advice and feedback to our graduates, those who have completed the degree in hotel and restaurant management, whether it be undergrad or graduate degree, and are trying to decide how to maximize that Hilton College education and market themselves. What would you encourage them to do?
Wow. Well, first off, right when the pandemic hit, we created a repository of all research related to the hospitality industry of what we can do to bounce back. So for those people that are entrepreneurs, use our repository. It's all free. It's there. And then if you don't own your own business and you are looking for a job, it's going to come back in a very, very fast way. You're right about the line employees. Who knew that hotels in our area would be paying a $500 signing bonus for housekeepers? But that's the reality of it. McDonald's is now paying people just to interview. You just have to come into the restaurant. Who knew? But that's going to really create, and a lot of managers, leaders were let go during the pandemic because there was no business. So they're going to have to fill those positions, and people have either moved away from the industry or found other jobs. So for our alumni, it's absolutely critical that you reach out to the college, go to the Hire Hilton site, and call other alumni, call people that are in the segment where you want to work, and really do things differently. I think for our new graduates, there are doors that are going to open that didn't exist before. So really what I want our graduates to do is think about things differently, that when they started, when they were 18 or when they were, a freshman in our college, they probably had a pretty clear idea of what they wanted to do and what that picture looked like. Well, I want them to really think of a different picture, one that's more vibrant, that's bigger, that may be very different. Maybe they wanted to own a chain of hotels. Well, maybe not right now. Kind of pick that and use these opportunities. Even at our little hotel, we're scrambling for housekeepers. But fortunately, we've brought back almost all the managers that we originally had. Our restaurant manager, the amazing Jarrell, he's been with us for 25 years. It just broke my heart when they furloughed him, when Aramark furloughed him. But he's back. It's great to see his smile, and we've done that. And I think our graduates will see that too. They're just other opportunities, but don't limit yourself. If you really see yourself living in fill in the blank, Dallas, Houston, you may have to think beyond that. You may have to think broader and be open, even global. Just think differently and look for those opportunities. And it may not be at the level you originally wanted, but because of this new era, the opportunities for advancement are going to be huge because that turnover is going to progress through the ranks. So if you don't have that perfect job right now, just get in, get your foot in the door, and really and use the college, and our amazing alumni. I mean, we have some of the best. We have the best alumni base of any college in hospitality that I know. So let's use that. Those people who aren't employed, well, let's let the employed ones help them and give them some advice. And we're already seeing that. We're seeing that a bunch. And we are getting, we get the number of calls we get each week from companies looking to hire people. And you're right, you pegged it, Charmaine, at the line level, but also at the managerial level. It's overwhelming. We got one that said, well, we need about 1,500 positions and we need to fill them now. I said, well, we don't graduate 1,500 students a year, so hold on. And that was a mix of line and management employees, but still, the point is that there is opportunities, and really a few years from now, I think this will be a bad memory and hopefully one that we'll never have to go through again.
I think we would all agree on that. Before I ask my final question, I just want to say to our audience that's joined us live today, if you have questions that you would like to put in the chat for those who are joining us from the college or in Facebook, we will collect those questions because we'll be doing this again on an annual basis. So if there are questions that you would like to be answered, we wanted to, obviously with a live broadcast, limit it today to about 30 minutes, but we want to capture those questions in our recording today and be able to respond to anyone who might have a specific question on all the information we've covered today. So finally, I'd like to ask you this question, Dean. The University of Houston has a word that they have used throughout this whole pandemic, resilience. It's what we as a college and as a university have exhibited. And I just want to ask you, U of H describes itself and uses the term, embraces the term as evidence that it can endure the challenges of this unprecedented season, this unexpected length of time of this pandemic and how it continues. But we want to hear from you. What does resilience mean to you?
What a great way to conclude. So resilience is actually, you can find it in our brand new strategic plan for the university. It's one of our key things, one of our key strengths. And it could not be more true for Hilton College. For us, resilience, it's opportunity and innovation. And we embraced this the day the pandemic hit. Once we kind of got our feet on the ground, I talked about the repository. I talked about, the classroom renovation. But we didn't miss a beat. We did all kinds of things that seizing that opportunity and figuring out how we could innovate at a time, the building was empty. So we used that time to paint classrooms. I talked about the technology, we put in new carpets. We just used that time so that when we did come back, we knew we would, but once we got everybody back in the building, that everyone would see a new and improved Hilton. I mean, we were in great shape, but I mean, you walk the halls today and it's pretty exciting, aside from the construction and the big fence out front, but it's a better place for students. And you have to remember, we had freshmen who are now coming back as sophomores who have never stepped foot in this building. I mean, that's weird. So, I mean, we've created new signage because it's kind of weird to be, even a junior and having not really found where the bathrooms are. It's going to be different. So just to show that opportunity, innovation, that resilience, we will be offering about 55% of our classes face-to-face. So in the building with our new technology and our new furniture and all that good stuff. And that number would be higher, but keep in mind what I said about San Antonio. We had to make sure we have enough online classes so we get them graduated. And then another thing we learned during the pandemic is freshmen and sophomores typically want to be face-to-face. They want that interaction. They want that experience, that experiential learning. But for a lot of juniors and seniors who are working ridiculous amount of hours, they like the online option, whether it's synchronous or asynchronous. It helps them in their careers. Is it perfect? No, but having options, that's awesome. So where we can, we're trying to offer a section face-to-face and a section online. And we can't do that for all classes, obviously. But for those big classes, we're really trying to make as many options because that versatility that the president talked about, that President Couture mentioned early on, we want to do that, because the things we heard from students is, hey, this was bad, but it wasn't that bad, and they really embraced it. And it's funny that the faculty really didn't complain, staff didn't complain. It was tough, but um, it was something we had to get through, and now we're doing that. And that whole opportunity, we looked at our staffing. Our goal through the pandemic was not to lose people. So on the hotel side, we had to reduce some salaries. So some of our line workers got reduced to 80%, and I picked 80% because that meant they kept full benefits, full retirement, they kept everything. And I'm very happy to say that they're all back to 100% now, 100% pay. But it was that opportunity. And we were really frank with our staff. It's like, okay, we can cut jobs, or we can take a little haircut on some salaries. What do you want? And everyone said, no, we don't want anyone from our family to leave. Let's stick together. It was hard, and it's particularly hard because of state laws. I couldn't cut faculty salaries or anything else. And we don't do furloughs in the state of Texas. So we had to be creative, but we did it, and we kept everybody going. It's really a point of pride. And people walk around the building now that we can be in the building, and they're happy to be here because they know that we prevailed. And I think one of the nicest compliments that we received through all this is one of the chief finance people at the university called me last week, and she said, your college took a hit like no other. She said, and never once did you guys complain. She said, all the other colleges are saying we need more money, we need this. She said, you didn't even call me. And I said, well, complaining doesn't do any good. That doesn't fix the problem. I said, we need to fix the problem, and we did. And Chris Miller joined at a perfect time. He's already raised money, in a month, because people want to help. And I think the fact that we are winning, we're at the front of the race, people want to be part of that. And I think that prompts people, because as I said, now is not the time to ask people for money. I don't think it's appropriate. Right now is the time to help people, but that also is self-fulfilling. So, and I think that will happen. Chris's first week, I think he just landed $1 million gift. It's not public yet, but what a great way to start a new job. And when he had to meet with the development folks across the street, that was his first meeting with them. Oh, by the way, here's what I've done lately. I mean, and one, he's just very good, but it's an opportunity. So going back to that, we're going to keep embracing it. We are going to build on the university's strategic plan next year with our own strategic plan. It's time. We just crested 5 years of the original strategic plan that we put in place. So it's a bright future. It's a bright time. And I want all of our alumni to come back, come visit, see our ugly fence. It was kind of funny. So I know I'm getting messages from above, because when we had the big storm this winter, it broke my heart to come to campus and see a row of porta potties in front of our college. So guests had to leave their hotel room, and go to use the porta potty because we had no water. And I was teasing Steve. It's like, okay, during the construction, I don't mind if there are porta potties in front of our college, but why now? Why have them right now? But they will soon be coming back, and they're not very attractive. But hey, if this little pain gets us to where we want to be, it's worth it. It's worth every sacrifice, because we are going to be so much better as a result of it.
That is truly resilience. And bravo for all that you have led us through during this difficult time, and for the faculty and staff who have bonded together, and for our students who have already demonstrated to their future employers what a value they'll be because they've made it through and been successful even in the midst of all of this. Just kudos all around, Dean Reynolds. And I want to especially thank again the Hilton College Alumni Association, particularly the current president, Jessica Lewis, and all of the team who worked very hard, Caitlin Venable, to put this session together, John Oliver, Zhao, as well as, Gautam behind the scenes. And I also just want to say thank you again for taking time to chat with me today. It's been truly insightful. I know our alumni really enjoy hearing from you, and I look forward to talking to you again next time. And to those listening, thank you for taking time out of your busy day to join us. And if you would like to stay up to date with the goings on of the college, you can find us on Facebook, You can find us on LinkedIn. And if you can also reach out to us directly through the Hilton College Alumni Association, and that's HCA Alumni Board, all lowercase, at uh.edu. That's HCA Alumni Board, one word, at uh.edu. A recording of this conversation will be made available on the Hilton College YouTube channel, our Facebook page, and an audio only through Exploring Hospitality with the Hilton College podcast, also available on your favorite podcast platform. And on behalf, again, of the Hilton College alumni, the dean, the faculty, and staff, we appreciate your support. We look forward to seeing you again soon, online and in person. And as we always say, especially on a beautiful Cougar Red Friday, go Cougs.
Okay. Thanks, Charmaine. Thanks, everybody.